In the history of humanity, there have been strange dreams that make us ponder. Are they mere coincidences? Or could they be warnings from fate? One of the most mysterious stories belongs to the famous writer Mark Twain, who once dreamed of his brother's death, days before it tragically came true. Twain's vivid dream revealed a haunting scene, a coffin surrounded by silence, adorned with a white bouquet and a single red rose at its center. The details were so striking that they lingered in Twain's mind, leaving him uneasy. Little did he know this dream would soon mirror reality. This fascinating tale of Mark Twain's prophetic dream blurs the line between imagination and premonition. Join us as we unravel this mysterious story and explore its meaning. Mark Twain, whose real name was Samuel Langhorne Clemens, is celebrated as one of America's greatest authors. His works, such as The Adventures of Tom Sawyer and Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, are timeless classics that have left a lasting impact on literature. However, beyond his literary brilliance, Twain possessed an extraordinary intuition, a lesser-known facet of his life. He experienced dreams that were not just vivid, but often eerily prophetic. Twain was a man of deep thought and introspection, which perhaps made him more attuned to the subtleties of his subconscious. One of the most mysterious events in his life came in the form of a dream that seemed to predict the tragic death of his younger brother, Henry Clemens. The bond between the two brothers was strong, and Twain had always been protective of Henry, who looked up to him as both a sibling and a role model. In this particular dream, Twain found himself in a quiet, dimly lit room. At its center was a coffin, covered with a bouquet of white flowers, and at the very center of the arrangement was a striking red rose. The scene was unsettling, and the vivid details of the dream left Twain deeply disturbed. When he awoke, the imagery was so clear and haunting that he shared it with those close to him. Yet at the time, it was dismissed as just another strange dream, nothing more. But Twain couldn't shake the feeling that this dream held significance. Its clarity and emotional weight set it apart from ordinary dreams. Though he tried to move past it, a lingering unease stayed with him, as if it was warning him of something yet to come. What makes this story even more extraordinary is how it unfolded just weeks later. Twain and Henry were working together on a steamboat called the Pennsylvania when a tragic accident occurred, a boiler explosion that would claim several lives, including Henry's. As Twain later stood by his brother's coffin, he was overcome by shock. The scene before him was identical to what he had seen in his dream. A quiet room, a coffin, and a white floral arrangement with a red rose at its center. Mark Twain's prophetic dream not only adds a layer of mystery to his life, but also raises questions about the nature of intuition and the unexplained. Was this just a coincidence, or did Twain truly glimpse the future? The story of his dream continues to intrigue historians, psychologists, and spiritualists alike, offering a haunting glimpse into the unknown. One quiet evening, as Mark Twain drifted into sleep, he experienced a dream so vivid and peculiar that it would haunt him for the rest of his life. It wasn't the type of dream one forgets upon waking. It was one filled with unsettling imagery and an overwhelming sense of foreboding. In this dream, Twain found himself standing in an unfamiliar room. The air was heavy and still, the kind of silence that made every breath feel louder. In the center of the room was a coffin, simple yet commanding all attention. Draped across the coffin was a bouquet of white flowers, pristine and delicate. At the very center of this arrangement was a single red rose, its vibrant color stark against the white. Twain couldn't shake the feeling that something was profoundly wrong. He stood there frozen, unable to move or speak. The room felt oppressive, as if it was trying to tell him something he couldn't yet understand. Despite the stillness, the scene was emotionally charged, leaving Twain with an unexplainable. Every element of the dream felt precise and deliberate. Twain would later recount how the bouquet of white flowers seemed carefully placed, almost ceremonial. The red rose at its center drew his attention the most, glowing as if it held a secret meaning. This vivid detail in particular etched itself into his memory. The room itself was dimly lit, its shadows adding to the mystery of the scene. Twain couldn't recognize the surroundings, but there was a strange familiarity to the moment, like he was witnessing something he was meant to remember. Although he was standing in the room, Twain described feeling as though he was simultaneously an observer and a participant, as if the dream were showing him something inevitable. something he would later understand but couldn't grasp. As he stood there, Twain felt a heavy weight pressing on his chest, a sensation of both sorrow and confusion. The image of the coffin and its floral arrangement filled him with an unshakable sense of loss, though he didn't know who the coffin belonged to or why he was there. The dream carried an emotional gravity that Twain couldn't explain. This was no ordinary dream. Twain felt it in his soul. He described waking up with his heart racing, sweat on his brow, and an overwhelming urge to figure out what it all meant. But even as he tried to make sense of it, the vividness of the dream left him rattled, lingering like a shadow over his waking. Upon waking, Twain couldn't keep the dream to himself. Its intensity compelled him to share it with those close to him. He described every detail to his family and friends: the coffin, the white flowers, the red rose. But despite the vividness of the imagery, most dismissed it as just a peculiar dream, product of his creative mind and perhaps the result of stress or overwork. Yet Twain wasn't convinced. The dream felt too real, too specific to be a mere coincidence. While others brushed it off, Twain couldn't escape the nagging feeling that it held a deeper meaning, one he couldn't yet unravel. Though Twain tried to go about his daily life, the dream stayed with him. It wasn't just the visual details that haunted him, but the emotional weight it carried. Twain felt as though the dream was a warning, a glimpse into something inevitable. He couldn't shake the sense that it was connected to someone he loved, though he didn't know who. This sense of unease would follow Twain in the coming weeks, lurking in the back of his mind as he continued his work and traveled with his younger brother, Henry Clemens. Little did he know, the dream was a harbinger of a tragic event that would soon come to. A few weeks after the dream, Mark Twain and his younger brother, Henry Clemens, found themselves working together aboard the steamboat Pennsylvania. Twain, who had always been protective of Henry, had helped secure a position for him on the boat. The brothers shared a strong bond, and Twain often spoke of how much he admired Henry's kind and gentle nature. Life aboard the steamboat was demanding but filled with the camaraderie of the crew. The boat, like many steamboats of the time, was a bustling hub of activity, ferrying passengers and goods along the mighty Mississippi River. Despite the hard work, Twain seemed at ease, though the unsettling dream from weeks earlier continued to linger in the back of his mind. On June 13, 1858, tragedy struck aboard the Pennsylvania. A boiler explosion rocked the steamboat, unleashing chaos and destruction. The blast was sudden and violent, leaving little time for anyone to react. Twain, who was not on board at the time of the explosion, was horrified when he received news of the disaster. Among the injured was Henry Clemens, who had suffered severe burns and injuries in the blast. Henry was taken to a nearby hospital along with other survivors, but his condition was critical. Twain rushed to his brother's side as soon as he heard the news. When he arrived, he was met with the devastating sight of his beloved brother lying motionless, fighting for his life. Twain could only watch in anguish as Henry succumbed to his injuries. A few days later, on June 21st, as Twain approached the room where Henry's body lay, he was struck by a sense of déjà vu so powerful it stopped him in his tracks. The room, the stillness, and most hauntingly, the coffin, it all mirrored the dream he had weeks earlier. Twain froze as his eyes fell upon the coffin, draped with a bouquet of white flowers. At the center of the bouquet was a single red rose, just as he had seen in his dream. The shock was overwhelming. Twain could hardly believe what he was seeing. The vivid details of the dream, once dismissed as a figment of his imagination, had now materialized before his very eyes. It was a chilling moment that Twain would never forget, one that blurred the line between dream and reality. Standing by Henry's coffin, Twain was overcome with grief and guilt. He blamed himself for his brother's death, believing that had he been present during the explosion, he might have been able to save Henry. But more than that, he was haunted by the prophetic nature of his dream. How could he have seen this moment so clearly weeks before it happened? Was it fate, intuition, or something far beyond human understanding? The death of Henry Clemens left a deep scar on Twain's heart. For the rest of his life, he carried the memory of that dream and the events that followed. It became a defining moment, shaping Twain's thoughts on destiny, intuition, and the mysteries of the human mind. He would later reflect on the dream and Henry's death in his writings, sharing the story as both a testament to his love for his brother, and a chilling reminder of life's unpredictability. The question that remained for Twain, and for anyone who hears his story, is this: how could a dream so accurately predict such a tragic event? Was it merely a coincidence? Or was it something far more profound? A glimpse into the mysterious Mark Twain's dream about his brother. Henry's death remains one of the most compelling examples of intuition and premonition in history. The vivid imagery of the coffin, the white flowers, and the single red rose was so precise that it later mirrored the real-life scene of Henry's funeral. But this raises an intriguing question. How could Twain foresee such a specific moment in his dream? Was it a mere coincidence, or something far more mysterious, a warning from his subconscious? Throughout history, many have argued that the human mind possesses a unique ability to sense or predict future events. Twain's dream could be an example of this, where his subconscious mind, deeply connected to his emotions, created a symbolic warning. At the time, Twain and Henry were working on the steamboat Pennsylvania, a job fraught with risks. The 19th century steamboats were notorious for their safety issues, especially boiler explosions. Twain, perhaps unknowingly, may have been harboring concerns for Henry's safety. These unspoken fears might have manifested in his dream, creating a vivid warning about the danger Henry faced. But there's another perspective. The dream's accuracy goes beyond what could be explained by mere anxiety. The exact details of the white flowers and red rose suggest something far more profound than a subconscious projection. Could it be that Twain's mind tapped into a deeper, unexplained? While skeptics might dismiss the dream as a coincidence, its eerie accuracy cannot be easily explained. Twain himself struggled to rationalize what he experienced. The dream wasn't vague or abstract. It was a vivid scene that unfolded, exactly as it did in reality, down to the smallest detail. Coincidences do happen, but Twain's experience challenges the limits of what can be attributed to chance. The connection between his dream and the tragic event that followed suggests a premonition, a glimpse of the future through unknown means. Such premonitions have been reported throughout history, often tied to moments of emotional intensity or impending danger. For Twain, the dream wasn't just a strange occurrence. It was a deeply personal moment that left him grappling with the mysteries of fate and the human mind. Was it a supernatural warning, or was it simply his subconscious piecing together hidden cues from his environment? To this day, the question remains unanswered. Mark Twain's prophetic dream continues to fascinate historians, psychologists, and spiritualists alike. It blurs the line between the explainable and the unknown, forcing us to consider the possibility that the mind is capable of perceiving far more than we understand. Whether a coincidence or a warning, Twain's dream serves as a haunting reminder of life's mysteries, leaving us with one lingering question: are dreams just products of the mind, or are they sometimes The story of Mark Twain's dream is more than just an uncanny coincidence. It is a profound reminder that there are things in life that lie beyond human understanding. How could Twain dream so vividly of his brother's death, down to the smallest details weeks before it happened? This mystery invites us to explore the deeper connection between the subconscious mind and reality, a connection that challenges the boundaries of what we know. Dreams have long been a subject of fascination, not just in literature and art, but also in science and philosophy. They serve as a bridge between the conscious and subconscious, a space where emotions, memories, and fears intertwine to create vivid, sometimes surreal experiences. But Twain's dream about his brother, Henry, goes beyond the typical realm of dreams. It felt like a premonition, a direct glimpse into the future. Could it be that dreams sometimes act as a warning system? In Twain's case, his mind may have picked up subtle cues, perhaps an unspoken fear for Henry, as safety, or an intuitive sense of danger that manifested in his dream. This possibility suggests that dreams are not just random stories our brains tell us while we sleep, but a way for our subconscious to prepare us from a spiritual perspective. Many believe that dreams can be a channel for messages from a higher power or the universe. Twain's dream might have been more than a reflection of his own fears. It could have been a divine warning or a connection to the unseen forces that guide our lives. Throughout history, prophetic dreams have been recorded in various cultures, often tied to significant events or turning points. These dreams defy logic, offering a glimpse into something far greater than the human mind can fully comprehend. Twain's experience fits this pattern, leaving us to wonder if his dream was part of a larger, inexplicable plan. Whether Twain's dream was a product of intuition, divine intervention, or an extraordinary coincidence, it carries a powerful lesson. It reminds us to pay attention to the subtle signals in life, the emotions, thoughts, and instincts that often go unnoticed. Dreams like Twain's, though rare, challenge us to consider that there may be forces at work beyond our understanding, forces that shape the course of our lives in ways we cannot predict. The story of Mark Twain's dream is not just a mystery, but an invitation to reflect on the deeper connections between mind, reality, and the unknown. Dreams may be more than fleeting images. They might be a bridge that helps us prepare for the unpredictable journey of life. So the next time you wake from a vivid dream, ask yourself, could it be telling you something you have yet to understand?